This dual motor fat tire electric bike has 160 Newton meters of torque and a payload capacity of 400 pounds. They say we can do up to 85 miles on a full charge. It's called the Birch Grolar all-wheel drive hunting electric fat tire bike. MSRP is $1 shy of $2,800 in the link below this video. I also have a little coupon code down there if you do decide to buy this bike. You can save a little bit of money, but don't buy this thing just yet. We got to review it first. And bro, this is the largest e-bike box I've ever received. I wonder if this thing's fully built. No way, dude. Bro, you have no idea how excited I am. This thing comes with the front wheel on. If you've ever had to install one of these fat tire front hub motors, you know they're a pain in the butt. Tires are CST BFT 26x4s. Here's a look at the knobby tread we get on these tires. And this one comes in forest camo. There are two other color options available in the link below. Also, we can see this is a step-through frame bike, making this thing very easy to get on and off. Down here in the lower part of the frame, we can see they have this little piece welded in there to give the frame a little extra rigidity. The bike is rated for payload capacity of 400 pounds. Got a place for a water bottle there and here. It is a hardtail e-bike, meaning there is no suspension on the rear, but up front we do get a dual crown air fork with inverted suspension. There's 180 millimeters of travel on this inverted air fork. It's got a center mount kickstand. We can see that the chain ring is relatively on the smaller side. That's for lower speed pedaling. We've also got this little piece right here, which helps raise the chain off the ground a little bit, give you a little more ground clearance down there. Moving our way back, I see something a little different on this frame. Actually, not even sure what that is yet. And we are rolling on a Shimano Q's derailleur, which is quite a bit better quality than on the typical e-bike we review on this channel. And paired up to that derailleur, we have a 9-speed transmission. As mentioned, the rear rack comes installed, which is excellent. It's got a pretty clean install method there with the bolts on the inside. We get two more attachment points here, as well as two more down here. Same on the other side. Back here, we can see there's a little connection port. Not sure if this is for an extra battery or an inverter. I'll tell you later. And there is no suspension built into the frame of the bike, but they do give us a suspension seat post. So if you're doing some off-roading, you'll get a little cushion there. Of course, we have the quick release lever to adjust the seat height. And here is what the actual rack looks like. We've got metal fenders and a rear light. And there's also a rack for the front that goes on that dual crown fork. Taking a closer look at the geared hub motor, the one on the rear here is a 750 watt nominal geared hub motor. I don't see any sort of official branding on this one. And up on the front wheel, we get the same exact motor. So between the two motors, you get a nominal power output of 1500 watts, but definitely peak output much higher than that. This setup is like the best for riding in soft sand out at the beach, which we're gonna try here in a few. But if you're doing some serious riding like in the sand or towing a deer or something, you're probably not gonna get 85 miles out of this battery. Let's take a closer look at it. Zooming in on the label here, we can see it is a 48 volt system with a 25 amp hour battery pack, 1200 watt hours of energy inside this thing. So a bigger battery means more range, more power for a longer time. Good things in my opinion, but also means more weight for the e-bike at 14.4 pounds for the battery. It's got a set of metal Neko pedals, various mounting hardware, and a pretty serious headlight. And of course, the charger. What do we get? It is a 3 amp charger. Be about 8 hours to charge your battery from completely empty to completely full. And it comes with a giant user manual to match the giant box and the giant bike. We're just large and in charge with this beast. On the right side, we get the typical compression adjustment with clicks. On the left side is where you can dial in the air pressure in the shock. That is a fantastic feature to have on a shock. But wait, there's more. Check out down here on the bottom. On the bottom side of the right stanchion, we get a rebound adjustment as well. It is a shelving front fork, but it is not intended for downhill free ride. So don't push it too hard, bro. So we've got Tektro hydraulic brakes, which are excellent. And if you're worried about having to pedal, don't worry, because there is a quarter twist throttle on the right that'll give you access to all the power. We get ergonomic grips. Same ergonomic grip over here on the other side. These ones are not like bolted down, so they might rotate on you eventually. And matching up with those 9 gears on the rear, we get the 9-speed shifter. We get a horn, looks like some turn signals, controls. Don't think I've seen this control unit before, kind of cool. And a display front and center with a USB-C charge port on the bottom for your cell phone or something you would need to charge. Somewhat interesting to see, we get a rear fender, but no front fender. No big deal, you could always grab one. Front rack on, headlight on, battery on. Don't want to forget to show you guys the Tektro hydraulic brakes, 2-piston brakes with Tektro rotors, 180 millimeter rotor up front, and we get the same exact setup around back. Still don't know what those things are though. Okay, e-bike on. Boom. Headlight just kicked on. It is an automatic headlight, I believe. And looking at the display, we can see it is on rear motor right now, so we can switch it to front motor or dual motor. Miles per hour, front and center, trip. Battery is showing 100%. Looks like we get power meters for front and rear motor here. Blue to 1, and then green, and then red for 4 and 5. Looks like this is a key display. There might be an app for this. And looking at the headlight, here's what we're looking like. This one doesn't have any turn signals on the front, but there is a turn signal switch here on the left, as well as a horn. There's the horn. And coming around back, we can see those signals do work. We also have the rear light, which functions as a brake light when I'm grabbing the lever. And here's what I'm looking like on this bike with the seat on maximum height. Handlebars have a bit of a rise to them, so it's a nice upright seating, comfortable seating position, relaxed upright geometry. Most of your weight's gonna be sitting on the rear on this one. That front suspension will help absorb impacts as you're rolling through the forest or wherever you're going. And then you got that suspension seat post on the rear, which does compress. And you got that center mount kickstand, so it's a little bit, you know. So it looks like we can get into the advanced settings. There's a speed limit, which is set to 20 out of the box, but we could increase it to 31. We'll just leave it on 20 for now, get in here later. Current limit, 25 amps for each motor. Oh, drive mode. Okay, so you have to get in the advanced settings to change the drive mode, I believe. This is one way to do it anyway. You can change that to front and rear, or auto. Wow. Interesting. We'll try out these on the ride. So FR, let's check it out. Go back, exit. Yeah, now we're on dual motor, sweet. So to do that, what you do is you hold down this button right here for 2 seconds or so, then get into the advanced, and it's at the bottom. So let's do this thing, man. Looks like the whole thing weighs in at about right around 120. Let's do it. All right, dudes, let's check out the Birch Grolar. So I did notice that the air pressure in the shock was like really low. I got in here and cranked this up to about 140 PSI. So let's go ahead and give it a rip up to 20% grade. We're on dual motors, pedal assist 5, easy step through frame, hopping aboard, full throttle, no pedaling. I weigh 200 pounds, peeling out, ripping right up to 20% grade as expected, about 12, 13 miles an hour there. You're looking for power. You know, this is the kind of bike you're gonna wanna have. So we do have it in dual motor mode. We'll switch it on over to single motor here in a little bit, get through the menus. It's not like an easy, you know, switch there to, you know, go from one motor to 2 motors. You gotta get into the advanced settings from my understanding. I could be missing something. Nice Lamborghini Urus there. So let's just dial this thing down a bit. You know, pedal assist 0, why not? So we got the Shimano Q's. Nice shifting system here. So Shimano Q's is quite an upgrade over our typical Altus or Tourney derailleur we see on these bikes. Feel it out as we go along here. Now, if your battery dies on this e-bike, as I always say, you're just gonna be rolling along about 5 miles an hour or so. Yeah, I mean, you can pedal it, but it's not ideal. So pedal assist 1, dual motor, and a little ramp up in power there. We're already on gear number 4. And we have the torque sensor on this e-bike, so the harder you press on the pedals, the more power you get in proportion to how hard you're pressing. And it makes for a much more natural riding experience with the torque sensor. So on pedal assist 1, this is fine riding. If you rode like this, you'd get insane range, like if you're just going 9 miles an hour. And on 5, dual motor, we're zooming, man. So even on gear number 9, I can tell, you know, right around low 20s is about the fastest your natural pedaling is gonna be. And it looks like the sensor cuts us off at 20 out of the box. We'll get into the settings here in a minute. Going around the corner, one thing I did notice about this bike is the rack on the front. It's mounted to the steering column, so everything like turns with the bike, which looks natural and normal. Sometimes they'll mount that front rack on the frame. One thing to keep in mind is if you do load a bunch of weight up on that front rack, it's gonna be turning with the wheel. So I'm gonna get into the advanced settings. Oh, you can change the assistance levels, so that's awesome. Assistance 1 is 50% power. Speed limit, there we go. I just cranked that up to the maximum, which would be 31 is the max. At 14 is kind of the cutoff point there. Current limit is set to 25. That's the max also. Slow start. Oh, so there's a slow start option on there. 1 through 4 is your options there. And let's switch the drive mode to rear and just see how that works. So full throttle, obviously getting a lot less juice. And over here on the right, we can see it does have a power meter there, and it'll kind of pin up and just show 100% power. So if you really want to conserve battery power, probably go down to single motor, not dual motor. In my experience anyway, that's how I tend to conserve power. And obviously you get your same torque sensor ability, 5 levels of pedal assist on that too. It just kind of dials everything down, even less than dual motor. And you don't really need a ton of power for the kind of off-roading I do here. But yeah, I was thinking, you know, it's got the big knobby tires, full suspension. Well, it's got the suspension seat post, so not like a true full suspension, but we got that dual crown fork up front. Now, air pressure on it is set up pretty soft out of the box. So like this is just eating up all the bumps. But you know, if I grab the front brakes and slam on it, I can basically bottom out that front suspension with the stock settings. And let's get out here on the fast roads, see what kind of speeds we can hit on rear motor only. Now that we increased the top speed, yeah, about 27. I'm pedaling pretty fast. I guess I can keep up better than I thought, but right around 28, I don't want to pedal any faster than that. But throttle will now take us up to 30.6 according to the onboard there, showing 28. We're going into headwind right now, so we're going to switch it to dual motor and test the top speed here in a moment. So we're going to get back into the menus and switch it to dual motor, drive mode. There we go. Maybe we'll try front motor only later. They do have the auto, which will be interesting, but let's just put it on front and rear. And we are on start strength of 1. Let's give it a 0 to 20 acceleration. 200-pound dude, throttle only. Ready, go. Oh, okay, that thing rips. 10 and 20. All right, that was actually kind of faster than I was expecting. So dual motor, obviously, big power, man. And we're gonna go ahead and give it a top speed run. We have a pretty good onshore wind today, meaning the wind is blowing from the ocean, inland. Pulling 20 miles an hour here. 25, 26, 28, 30, and GPS is showing 29, 30. So onboard speedometer is reading basically 31 is where it tops us out. My GPS is showing 29, 30, so yeah, 31-ish miles an hour. So the dual motors doesn't give you like more top speed necessarily, just gives you that torque, man. So let's give a rip up our typical hill here. Throttle, go. So yeah, this thing's got a lot of torque. It can climb that hill very easily. Most bikes can't do that, and we're gripping the side of that hill just fine with these knobby tread tires. And looks like we have a police chilling here. Some sort of incident may have occurred. Now might be a good time to try and give a rip out there. Go! From a slow start, and just pedaling along, you see we're just kind of ripping through the sand pretty easily. Looks like they have somebody detained over there. As you can see, we're just kind of shredding right through this about 12 miles an hour. Holding strong, man. Both those power meters just absolutely maxed out. And obviously, you know, riding in the sand is like the most extreme conditions. I felt that kickstand just touched that gap as I rode through there. So I'm noticing this is a particularly strong performer in the sand. Oh yeah, let's just hop on out here and just give it a rip from a slow start. And yeah, this is doing much stronger than the typical e-bike I review. Even most dual motor e-bikes, this is, I would say, doing better than a lot of them. The tall 26-inch wheels gives you a lot more leverage and stability for riding over the sand. However, the taller the wheel, kind of the less torque you get down to the ground. Yeah, down here in the soft sand, obviously we have that knobby tread tire. Now the CST BFT tires are much better than Chow Yang's, but I will say the Kenda tires do have a little deeper. The Kenda Crusades have deeper tread on them compared to the CSTs. These ones are a lot quieter though, riding on the street. So just kind of cruising along here, and we're gonna bust a right here and try to ride up this hill. Now I have not been pedaling this thing at all, and as you can see, it's just climbing right up the hill. So pretty beast mode off-road performing e-bike, man. This thing is just crushing, dude. Crushing. Now at some point, these motors will overheat if I just keep pushing them this hard, but we're doing good, man. And the reason that they'll overheat is because they are 750 watt nominal motors, but you know, we're pumping more than that into these motors going through there. And at some point the controller would overheat or the motors would overheat and it'll take your power away. So rolling up on the pier here, we are showing 95% battery. This is a larger than average battery pack for a fat tire e-bike. We're 8 miles into this ride. We'll see where we end up on the final range. But what I really want to do is get into the drive mode here and switch it from dual motor over to automatic. So this will be interesting to see how it works. I mean, I can't tell actually if it's dual motor or single motor. So on the automatic, it's giving dual motor right now. Let's go ahead and cut through here on full throttle and see what it does. Now that we're on auto mode, I mean, it's doing dual motor, I can tell, because we're just plowing through this. So I wonder if it's gonna switch over to single motor at some point. We'll see. I feel like when it's on auto, it gives like less power off the line. Like it's a softer launch, so if you're not looking for something really jolting, which I enjoy, the FR setting on the drivetrain, this feels to be a little more gentle when we're on auto mode. Actually, let me just give you another 0 to 20 here and you tell me. Ready, go. So we're not getting that wheel spin off the line, but we get that power, 10 and 20. Just like a little softer, more approachable launch. So I guess I'm just gonna leave it on the automatic mode, although it's not even the most aggressive mode. I just know we don't need it, but it does make the power a little more controllable. Some of these motors can kind of tend to spin out on the front motor, going around these turns if you don't control your power well. I'm kind of just tapping on the throttle. As you can see, this thing's got plenty of torque. I mean, if we're riding on the sand like that, you already know it can handle this. Really, the only question we have left is, can it handle stopping before we crash into this wall? Because we are rolling on 180 millimeter Tektro rotors. This bike's got a little weight to it. They are hydraulic Tektros, but full throttle from a dig. 7, feeling a little wheel spin here on the auto already. 15, 20, and now that we're unlocked, obviously we're just gonna keep accelerating beyond 20, 24, and climbing still 25 on my GPS here, 27 going up the 12% California incline, and yeah, peaking out right around 26, 27 miles an hour. That'll do it. So as mentioned, Tektro hydraulic brakes. These 180 millimeter Tektro brakes feel good. Some bikes of this weight will run 203 millimeters. Basically, a larger rotor, you get more mechanical leverage for stopping. These are name brand Tektros, and they feel good, man. Yeah, these things stop this bike pretty well. And I do feel that front fork definitely diving on us for sure. It could use maybe a little more air in it. It's just like a soft front fork. Riding it today, I have not had any problems with it bottoming out. So it's almost like a good thing, you know, like if you're not planning on like doing jumps and stuff, like by having like a soft front fork, it's really utilizing the full length of that travel, which is significant. And let's give it a brake test from about 20 here. Yeah, brakes are fine, dude. They're good brakes. That suspension travel, bro. That front fork just dives. It's kind of fun using that front fork. Watch it pop up. Completely compressed. So we're about to head on home. Check the final range on this thing. It is showing 89% right now. I'll share my final thoughts along the way. List price on this bike is $2,799 at the time of this recording. I do have a pretty darn significant discount link in the link below the video in the description box. If you do decide to buy this bike and you would like to help support Tail Happy TV, if you click that link below and use my discount code, it would help support my reviews, and I greatly appreciate your support. So final thoughts on this thing. It's a lot of fun, man. Dual motors, this thing's putting down a lot of power to the ground, so it's a big bike. I fit on it well. I love the step through frame, hopping on and off this thing. Front suspension, you know, initially I was thinking it felt kind of too soft. It is a very soft front suspension, but if you're just doing like normal riding and not trying to like jump it off like cliffs and stuff like that, this kind of suspension is going to allow you to utilize kind of like a lot more of that travel. So, you know, it rides pretty nice. And then, you know, it's got the torque sensor, so you get your power in proportion to how hard you're pressing on the pedals. I mean, all around, it's a pretty cool electric bike. It's got that camo paint. So, you know, if you're looking for something to go hunting with or something like that, this might be a good option. Considering dual motors, all the power, it can tow some stuff, get you to where you want to go. You don't got to worry about pedaling. Really don't have anything bad to say about it other than, I guess, I mean, I don't know if it's bad or not, but you know, it's not the cheapest electric bike at $2,800, but I do have that discount link. So pros and cons to all these e-bikes. I hope this review has been helpful to you. Let's head home, see where the final range pans out. So per usual, I'm just ripping it wide open throttle all the way home. And as we all know, speed kills range, so it's probably good that it tops us out right around 30. And just rolling up to the neighborhood here. Hour, 25 minutes ride time, average speed 12.62, and about a tenth of a mile we'll be at 18 miles, and the battery readout here is showing 53% on the dot. And I did not pedal this thing hardly at all today. And you know, we were ripping through the sand. So pretty fun electric bike. If this is the one for you, use that link down below the video, buy through that link, use my discount code, it'll help save you some money, also get you the best price and support my reviews. However, if this is not the kind of electric bike you're looking for, watch this video right here, dude. Catch you over there.